Sheikh Hasina was born into a world of politics. It was the year 1947, the same year India gained its independence. Her birthplace was Tungipara, a small village in what was then East Pakistan. Her father, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, would become a key figure in the fight for Bangladesh's independence. Hasina was the eldest of 5 children. She grew up in a home filled with political discussions and activism. Her father's involvement in the Bengali language movement left a deep impression on her. It ignited a passion for social justice. Education was paramount in the Sheikh household. Hasina attended mission school in Tungipara. She later enrolled in Azimpur Girls' School and Eden College in Dhaka. Her thirst for knowledge led her to the University of Dhaka. There, she studied Bengali literature. Tragedy struck Hasina's life at a young age. In 1956, a cyclone devastated East Pakistan. Her family's home was destroyed. This experience instilled in her a deep empathy for the vulnerable. It fueled her desire to serve her people. The University of Dhaka was a hotbed of political activism. Hasina, a bright and outspoken student, was drawn to this world. She joined the Chhatra League, which was the student wing of her father's party, the Awami League. Hasina's involvement in student politics deepened during the 1960s. East Pakistan chafed under the rule of West Pakistan. Bengalis demanded autonomy and respect for their language and culture. Hasina participated in protests and demonstrations. She became a vocal advocate for Bengali rights. In 1971, the struggle for independence turned violent. Pakistan launched a brutal crackdown on East Pakistan. Hasina's father, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, was arrested and imprisoned in West Pakistan. Hasina and her family were placed under house arrest. They endured months of fear and uncertainty. Despite the risks, Hasina continued to work for Bangladesh's liberation. She secretly communicated with freedom fighters and helped to raise international awareness about the atrocities being committed in her homeland. Victory came in December 1971. Bangladesh achieved its independence. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, hailed as the father of the nation, returned home to a hero's welcome. He became the country's first prime minister. However, Hasina's joy was short-lived. On August 15, 1975, tragedy struck again. A group of disgruntled army officers assassinated her father in a military coup. Hasina and her sister, Sheikh Rahana, were abroad at the time. They were the only immediate members of their family to survive. The assassination plunged Bangladesh into years of political turmoil and military rule. Hasina, forced into exile, sought refuge in India. She remained there for 6 years. During this time, she emerged as a symbol of hope and resistance for the Bangladeshi people. In 1981, Hasina returned to Bangladesh. She was elected president of the Awami League. It was a testament to her father's legacy and her own growing political stature. Hasina vowed to restore democracy and continue her father's vision of a just and prosperous Bangladesh. Hasina's leadership of the Awami League marked a turning point in Bangladesh's political landscape. She revitalized the party, mobilized the masses, and challenged the military rulers. In 1990, Hasina's efforts bore fruit. A mass uprising forced the military regime to step down. Democracy was restored. Hasina played a pivotal role in this transition. She emerged as a champion of democracy and human rights. The 1991 general election saw the Awami League return to power. However, it was the Bangladesh Nationalist Party that won the majority of seats. Hasina became the leader of the opposition. She used this platform to hold the government accountable. She continued to advocate for the poor and marginalized. In 1996, the Awami League, led by Hasina, won a landslide victory. Hasina became the Prime Minister of Bangladesh. She was the first woman in the country's history to hold this position. Hasina's first term as Prime Minister was marked by both progress and controversy. Her government implemented a number of social and economic reforms. These included initiatives to empower women, improve education, and promote rural development. However, Hasina's government also faced criticism for its handling of dissent. There were allegations of human rights violations and crackdowns on opposition parties. Critics accused Hasina of becoming increasingly authoritarian. They pointed to her government's attempts to control the media and suppress free speech. Despite these controversies, Hasina remained a popular figure among many Bangladeshis. She was seen as a strong and decisive leader. She was credited with maintaining stability and promoting economic growth. In 2001, the Awami League was defeated in the general election. Hasina stepped down as prime minister. She continued to lead the Awami League in opposition. The years following her first term as prime minister were tumultuous for both Hasina and Bangladesh. The country faced a series of political crises, natural disasters, and economic challenges. In 2004, Hasina narrowly escaped an assassination attempt while addressing a rally in Dhaka. The attack, which killed 24 people and injured hundreds more, shook the nation. It highlighted the fragility of Bangladesh's democracy. Despite the threats to her safety, Hasina remained a vocal critic of the ruling BNP government. She accused them of corruption, incompetence, and human rights abuses. Her stance resonated with many Bangladeshis who were disillusioned with the state of the nation. In 2007, Bangladesh was hit by a devastating cyclone. Cyclone Cedar caused widespread destruction and loss of life. Hasina, along with other Awami League leaders, traveled to the affected areas. They provided aid and comfort to the survivors. As Bangladesh struggled to recover from the cyclone, a political crisis erupted. The military-backed caretaker government, which had assumed power in 2007, accused Hasina and other politicians of corruption. They were arrested and imprisoned. Hasina spent over a year in jail. She denied the charges against her. She maintained that they were politically motivated. Her imprisonment sparked protests by her supporters. It drew international condemnation. In 2008, after a lengthy trial, Hasina was released on bail. The charges against her were eventually dropped. However, the allegations of corruption and nepotism tarnished her reputation. They eroded public trust in her leadership. Despite the setbacks, Hasina remained a formidable political force. She returned to campaigning. She vowed to clear her name and lead Bangladesh out of the political and economic quagmire. The 2007 to 2008 political crisis proved to be a turning point in Hasina's political career. It hardened her resolve. It deepened her suspicions of the military and her political opponents. It also fueled a sense of grievance among her supporters. In the 2008 general election, the Awami League, led by Hasina, won a landslide victory. Hasina returned to power as prime minister. She was determined to consolidate her authority. She sought to marginalize her opponents. Hasina's second term as prime minister was marked by a series of controversial moves. These included the abolition of the caretaker government system, the establishment of a new security force, and the prosecution of war criminals from the 1971 Liberation War. These actions were praised by her supporters. They saw them as necessary steps to strengthen democracy and ensure justice. However, they were condemned by her critics. They viewed them as evidence of Hasina's increasingly authoritarian tendencies. As Hasina consolidated her power, dissent grew. Student protests erupted in 2013. They demanded an end to corruption and impunity for extrajudicial killings. The protests were met with a brutal crackdown by security forces. Dozens of people were killed. Hundreds more were injured. The crackdown on the 2013 protests drew international condemnation. It raised concerns about the deteriorating human rights situation in Bangladesh. Human Rights Watch accused the government of using excessive force against peaceful protesters. It called for an independent investigation into the violence. Despite the criticism, Hasina remained defiant. She defended her government's actions. She accused her opponents of inciting violence and undermining democracy. She vowed to crush any attempt to destabilize the country. The crackdown on the 2013 protests marked a turning point in Hasina's relationship with the West. Western governments became increasingly critical of her government's human rights record. They called for greater respect for freedom of expression and assembly. The final years of Hasina's rule saw a steady erosion of democratic norms. The space for dissent shrank. The media came under increasing pressure. Elections became less free and fair. In 2014, the Awami League won a controversial election. The opposition boycotted the polls. They alleged widespread rigging. International observers expressed concerns. Hasina's victory gave her a third consecutive term. It cemented her grip on power. However, it deepened the political divide. In 2018, student protests erupted, sparked by a road accident. The protests morphed into a broader movement. The government responded with force. Dozens were killed, hundreds injured. The crackdown drew international condemnation. It further tarnished Hasina's reputation. The crackdown on the 2018 student protests proved to be the final straw for many Bangladeshis. Public anger at Hasina's government grew. In early 2024, large-scale protests erupted across Bangladesh. The protests were fueled by rising living costs, corruption, and human rights abuses. They struggled to contain the unrest. The international community stepped up its pressure on Hasina's government. Key allies deserted her. On August 5, 2024, the unthinkable happened. Sheikh Hasina resigned and fled to India. Her resignation caused huge celebration across Bangladesh. Sheikh Hasina will be remembered for her active role she has played in shaping the path of Bangladesh. If you enjoyed the video, kindly hit on the subscribe button, share, and leave your comment. Until next time, bye.